Nice you guys to join us.
Call, please.
One moment. Mayor Gibbons.
Here.
Councilmember Jack-Sadek.
Here.
Councilmember Lizzo.
Here.
Councilmember McLean.
Here.
Councilmember Reinecker.
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer is absent.
Thank you. We have no presentations tonight, but we do have a couple of public hearings. So at this time, the council will recess to conduct a public hearing regarding a request for a major site plan for a new parking lot and special use permit for outdoor storage for Murphy Company at 444 East Elliott Avenue. Ms. Graves, do you have exhibits to enter into the
Yes, Mayor.
record?
Yes, Mayor, I do. I would like to offer the following exhibits into the record. Exhibit 1 is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the St. Louis County on September 26, 2025. Exhibit 2 is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the Webster Kirkwood Times on September 26, 2025. Exhibit 3 is a list of property owners whom notice of the public hearing was sent to. Exhibit 4 is a viewer map showing the list of property owners of whom notice of the public hearing was sent to. Exhibit 5 is the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission Subcommittee dated September 17th, 2025. Exhibit 6 is the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission dated September 18th, 2025. And Exhibit 7 is the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Hawes, who will present this to the council?
That will be Lowry, City Planner 2.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Hello.
So the property here consists of about 4 acres and 3 subdivision parcels. There's an existing building of about 32,000 square feet, of which about 1,600 square feet is devoted to office use and the remainder is to light manufacturing. And so the request before you tonight is for outdoor storage area and a new parking lot. The applicant's proposing that the existing parking lot, which is south of the building, be enlarged and fenced in for outdoor storage of dumpsters, supplies, equipment, and vehicles. And then a new parking lot will be constructed to the west of the building. Outdoor storage of equipment and vehicles is an accessory use that requires a special use permit. The previous company that was on this site was using the parking lot for outdoor storage, but they never had a special use permit. So this request is to get the accessory use into compliance with the city's zoning code. This is just an excerpt from our zoning map. The property is zoned I-1 light industrial. And the area east of Leffingwell Avenue has been used as light industrial since at least 1967. Murphy Company purchased this site in the fall of 2022 from Rock Hill Mechanical, and they're operating the same business and fabricating the same products, ducts, pipes, et cetera, with all the manufacturing occurring within the building. And the current use of the property for light manufacturing is a permitted use in the light industrial district. The applicant provided photos of the site and also photos of some of the surrounding properties. These are photos west and north of the site on East Elliott Avenue. And these are largely single-family residences, but the underlying zoning has been light industrial since 1967. So all of these residential uses are non-conforming uses. And then just some photos north on East Elliott and then east on Clark. And so you see largely these uses are industrial, although there's still some non-conforming residences immediately to the north. This is a site plan. According to the applicant's occupancy certificate, hours of operation are currently Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the current number of employees is 16. For the new parking lot, which should be west of the existing building, a total of 44 parking spaces are required and provided, including 2 accessible spaces. And the applicant is seeking an exemption from the requirement to provide 2 bicycle racks. This bicycle rack requirement is due to the special use permit, but since it's for outdoor storage, they're requesting that that requirement be waived. And so the outdoor storage area, which will be south of the building, will be enclosed with an 8-foot high chain link fence with vinyl site-proof slats. And the predominant screening in the surrounding area is simple chain link fencing. Stormwater management plans will be submitted to MSD, but you can see that they're proposing two bioretention basins in the vicinity of the paved areas. Landscape plan, we require landscaping in the form of trees and shrubs for the new parking lot. And they're proposing a mixture of existing and new canopy trees to meet the requirements. So as a reminder, when we do the final landscape evaluation, we'll look to see that those existing trees are still in good condition so that they can go toward that. And then they provide a lighting plan. It's compliant with full cutoff 2700 Kelvin fixtures. Planning and Zoning Commission just had a few conditions. One would be a consolidation plat because the property is in 3 subdivision lots right now. Also, obtaining a permit within 12 months and a waiver of the requirement for the 2 bicycle racks. So when we evaluate special use permit, there's 14 criteria to consider, including number 5, the special use shall have suitable landscaping, screening, and fencing where deemed necessary by the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council to protect surrounding uses. Number 7, the proposed use will be harmonious with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity. So as I said, there's actually 14, including the number 1 under 2520F, which is City Council may impose additional conditions, guarantees, and safeguards it deems necessary to protect the general welfare and individual property rights and to ensure the special use will meet the intent and purposes of this code. And then there are also 19 site plan review criteria that need to be evaluated as well. I'm available for any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Would the applicant like to say anything?
Hi, my name is Brian Ivy. I'm the architect for the project. And Amy's pretty comprehensive. So I'm here available to answer questions. We also have our civil engineer in attendance as well. So if anybody has any questions, otherwise I really don't have anything to add. She kind of stole my
Okay.
thunder.
Great. Well, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I'm wondering, there's 16 employees. Why do we need 44 parking spaces? And we just had a meeting yesterday and some of our contractors are here about stormwater, and we have big stormwater issues in Kirkwood, especially down in that area, an area where the city's going to be purchasing a piece of property that the Mrazek building.
Oh, okay. I
The
didn't know that.
city's purchasing that, and there's always flooding down there. So why do we need 44?
Basically, the parking spaces is to be in compliance with city ordinance. The zoning code dictates that. We've went through the calculations and we're trying to provide the minimal number of parking spaces as necessary.
Okay. Amy? Is,
He is correct. The parking is, for the warehouse spaces is greatly reduced from what it would be for just a normal office. But we also require that the outdoor storage space has parking as well. And that's just the way our code reads, so.
and is there a way of doing some special use that would eliminate the need for, how many extra parking spaces is that? 20? I don't know. I can't. Is there?
I mean, short of
Thank you,
the,
Jonathan.
So what you have to consider is they have 16 employees today. The size of that operation, what our code has to plan for is somebody else could come in and have many more employees. They could pick up a second shift and have 32 employees. They could increase any point. So it's not advised to park to the number of employees that an individual business says they have. It's based on square footage. Now, if you wanted to, it would take a code amendment to eliminate the parking requirement for outdoor storage areas or to change the requirement. But again, I would
Remind me, Jonathan, I talked to you about why couldn't we do pervious?
So pervious pavement is allowed in the parking space areas, not in the drive aisles by our code because of the way with the turning movements in parking lots and the extra wear and tear in the drive aisles, it doesn't hold up, at least current methodologies. So it's advised that it is allowed in our code to be in the parking space areas. But again, from a stormwater perspective, our code defers to MSD for applications of this. They're going to be subject to MSD's review, and that's what they're designing with their basins is to handle the two basins that were referenced are sized and will be reviewed by MSD to handle the pavement that's added. So
Could the council require pervious?
if you all have reason to do so, you could.
Anyone?
Those are great questions.
That's
Those
you.
right, that's where I was going. How many times do I drive by these huge parking lots at any grocery store or any strip mall, and half of it is always empty even at prime time?
Mhm.
And if an applicant that only has 16 employees today says, hey, we only need 30 spaces, why can't we do that? And if someone else comes along later and buys it and they need more,
So what happens when they sell it in 6 months and they sell it to somebody who has double the employees, and then the neighbors across the street are complaining because we approved a use who now they have to park on the street because we didn't anticipate that this building could have more employees?
But couldn't they come back at that point in time and ask?
We couldn't require it.
No, I understand that required, but
So then neighbors, they would just be parking on the street or in front of the driveways. And I mean, you don't evaluate parking business by business. That's not a good practice.
maybe, how about going back to the pervious thing? I agree with the mayor on this. I think there's got to be a way that we can be forefront on this and start requiring pervious pavement. And I'm not sure where you get your studies from that doesn't last up. I'd like to talk to people that actually use it and have trustful in it.
Yeah, I mean, CVS and Fresh Time they both have had to redo their parking lots over the past recent time. So, and that's part of MSD. I believe MSD doesn't allow it. I'll have to look. So, but that's,
Redo it. They redo it.
mhm. I mean, it also doesn't function as pervious when it's not.
I'm not thrilled with MSD. They give us all these reports and say, oh yeah, that house is perfect. You can build that house there. Next thing you know, there's water runoff from the neighbors.
It sounds like
You know, so MSD.
for the purpose of this application, it sounds like a bigger topic maybe for the city. But so again, for the purposes of this topic, and so to require, from staff's perspective, to require something additional that our code doesn't require, staff would recommend that you have a basis to do that. So some sort of information that shows what they're proposing and meeting MSD standard would have a negative impact. So I understand that this area has flooding, but what information do we have to say that what they're proposing is going to cause negative impact specifically is what we
Along
would
the
recommend.
same lines, what information do we have that we know those basins will be sufficient? Because my understanding is there's a lot of clay in Kirkwood, and the clay soil and basins don't necessarily.
So MSD is the governmental jurisdiction that has jurisdiction over stormwater, and that is the basis.
I know it's a bigger issue, but it's just kind of in the forefront now with what we're doing with the contractors.
Mhm.
And all the, in my mind, we're throwing the contractors under the bus if we don't listen to them. And yet here we are, we have a project. in front of
Respectfully,
us.
the single-family residential stormwater, again, we're in a public hearing for this specific project, so.
Because this is a project that affects us all, and if there's something in the code that we can change that will have less runoff here, and we do that going down the road, I think that benefits all of us going forward. Because we're gonna get nothing
Okay.
but more runoff going forward with more roads being paved, more parking lots being paved, environmental changes. I know it's a bigger picture, but why can't we focus on it now?
let's start somewhere.
Gotta start somewhere.
What other questions?
Can I
Councilmember
ask
just said
about
it.
the access from, so they're gonna have the access to the parking lot from Clark versus Clark is gonna, it's not gonna be at Clark, it's gonna be East Elliott. Can you kind of talk through, and then is that through neighborhood or through more of the business side?
So
What's
yeah,
the
the East
change of
Elliott
the
connection
access?
is for the parking lot that would access off of Elliott. The storage area would access off of Clark on the east. And so do you have the aerial of the surrounding?
So there'll be an access on the Clark side to the outdoor storage.
Just like it is today. That's not going
And
to
then
change.
the parking lot will be accessed on East Elliott. Is that current today or is that a new access?
They have curb cuts towards the front of the building on East Elliott, but the one that's proposed into the new parking lot, it would be a new curb cut
It's gonna move a little
west.
to the left.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
can't tell. Will the other ones stay?
I believe they are proposed to stay. Yes. Yep.
Okay, Councilmember Letzo.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So, Jonathan or Amy, I'm just wondering about this, 16 employees. We've got a new owner, and, indoor production of pipes and whatever kinds of construction materials. I'm wondering, do they anticipate, increasing workforce, or do they have?
Question for the applicant, I think.
Okay, I don't know if Brian or, or, sure, come on up, Brian.
What's been conveyed to me is they anticipate maybe a little bit of an increase, but I don't know. I think they've just got it going. They're trying to get it operational so they can see how much capacity they're going to have and if they need an increase in employees. I don't believe they're going to double that. I think it's probably another, 4 to 8 would be my assumption, but I don't know for sure.
Mhm.
And the owner's not in attendance tonight.
Okay, well, and I'm just wondering, this is, I mean, it's just employees that are basically using the parking lot, right? Or do they have people coming and picking up orders? And
No,
they
all-
would,
The deliveries and stuff will happen off of Clark.
The other-
It's
at
really
the-
for them. They're,
okay,
the current employee parking is in Clark, which is going to be converted to outdoor storage. And then they're going to make a compliant, a zoning compliant parking lot with ADA compliance as well,
mhm,
in the new parking
mhm,
lot.
mhm, mhm. And as Jonathan said, I mean, we wish them the best with their, with the new owners, but, if this site or when this site might be, change hands, it's ready to go for the capacity of the square footage as far as parking goes, according to our
yes.
code right
Yeah.
now. And as far as hours of operation, it's 7 to 4 PM, just Monday through Friday. Do they anticipate expanding that at all?
Not to my knowledge. The hours of operation, I mean, I think that's how they're operating now. I don't know what the previous owner's hours of operations were,
Mhm.
but
Mm-hmm,
this is kind of theirs.
okay. I mean, basically the same thing, and I don't know if we can, read the minds of the MSD people who are gonna review this site, but yeah, we are sort of comprehensively looking at stormwater management, and if this is an area of concern, then I don't know if there might be other things.
We do have the plans into MSD right now, and they've been through, I think, the first review, and they've just had minor comments. So this will be pretty close to the final submission to MSD. Can I touch on one thing about the pervious parking that was brought up previously?
Sure.
Now, one of the issues with pervious parking is the need to maintain it. And because the way it works is you have pores in the asphalt. The asphalt has openings in that, and that's where the water goes through, and it goes through and it filters through. The problem with it is over time, as we all know, that it gets clogged with dirt. So you have to annually maintain that. So you'll essentially come through and you'll vacuum your parking lot to keep those pores open. So it becomes a big maintenance issue. And then to regulate how often that's maintained and to ensure that it's done, I see that as really logistically challenging thing for the city to regulate. So I wanted to throw my 2 cents in.
Can you educate me on that? It's concrete with pores?
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
or asphalt.
Asphalt. Okay, do you asphalt over it and every year, do you put new,
No,
on it?
see, you know what? I'm not sure. I think if, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're right there. You
I-
back it out.
I'm sorry.
Back it out.
Yeah,
Go ahead
you
with it.
vac it out. And I think if you were to seal it, you would basically close those pores up. The,
You don't have the sealant costs, and I'd just be curious
well,
what the cost is between sealing and striping versus vacuuming it out.
the other issue that I have seen is that with those pores and because of the climate zone that we're in, the freeze thaw cycle, it reduces the life expectancy of that parking lot because the water gets in there, it freezes, expands and pops that asphalt. So you get really rough asphalt in just a couple of years. So I've personally not been a big fan of it, but just because it's not very durable in my experience.
I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I'm just reaching for ideas.
No, I completely understand and I agree with the idea. I just think that logistically, there are some issues that I just think council should be aware of.
MSD goes out and checks that too, for if you have pervious space, they'll come out. We're dealing with that with SGM. They're the ones that come out and double check that it's being made.
For maintenance costs compared to,
Ours was in about 8 years and we've had to completely take it all out and redo it. So, and what they typically do is they dig down deeper and they fill it with rock. So that's like the catch basin. But to his point, if it gets clogged, you're gonna get moisture in there and it's gonna freeze and pop. So we've had that, but it's part of what you do to expand what you're gonna build there. So, and we've taken that in when we build our school. That was part of the deal that we signed up for. Part of maintenance.
Councilmember Letzo.
So, the request is, or the plans call for a, chain link fence
Yes, ma'am.
with, slats.
Yes.
So that's not really considered a site-proof fence, correct?
Well, the vinyl slats would
Mm-hmm.
go through and it obscures that. I guess in some of the pictures, I think you can kind of pick up on the adjacent properties that have privacy fences or just open chain link fence. So in trying to keep in that same character, or we prefer to just use the vinyl slats to
Mhm.
maintain that,
Mm-hmm.
the site proof.
And maybe, Amy, can you confirm for me, because chain link is not allowed in the downtown area, in the industrial area, chain link is an okay application for fencing?
Chain link in residential areas is not allowed in front yards. This wouldn't be considered the front yard necessarily.
Mhm.
So, and it is allowed in an industrial area.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think that's the only questions I have for now. Thank you.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Question for the applicant. So, are you guys considering consolidating your operations here? Because I know you guys are spread out. Murphy is anyway.
No,
spread
there's
out.
actually multiple facilities.
Okay.
Actually, the owner's rep, or
Just
the
saw
owner
it,
just
yeah.
showed up.
Yeah.
I'd like to defer to him.
Sure.
He's gonna be able to answer it a lot more
Sure.
intelligent.
Apologize for being
Mm.
late. I'm Joe Skilgen. I'm a vice president over at Murphy Company. No, we're not planning on consolidating here.
Okay.
We currently have a facility in Olivet.
Right.
We expected to expand that facility.
Okay.
Cost-wise, time-wise, this became available.
Sure.
So we purchased it from the previous owner.
Right.
So we're not consolidating here. We're still operating the facility over in Olivet. And actually, we have another facility that we're currently renting off of Talmadge in the city for the Cardinal Glen Hospital work we're doing.
Gotcha. Okay. I just curious, whether we were doing anything like that. Okay.
Our hope is that in the long run, our other two shops will dwindle down, and this will be our primary
Primary.
piping shop.
Like Rock Hill was. at the-
Yes.
Yeah.
thanks
Other-
for coming to Kirkwood.
Other questions? Okay,
I was listening while I was on my way here.
okay, go ahead.
So
Okay, I didn't offer you
in
the
regards
microphone.
to current employees, we are currently at 22. Okay, so it's a little bit more than the 16 that was mentioned. Could it go up? It could, but we're kind of getting to the point where there's not enough room inside the building to operate it. So that's why we've moved back into Olivet and as well as Talmadge. So it just made more sense to spread out a little bit better.
We're closer to the site you're working on.
Talmadge is very close to the hospital. It's within a half mile.
Yep.
And Olivet is very close to Boeing.
Right.
So.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thanks.
Hearing no further discussion, this public hearing is now closed. And this bill will be on the November 6th council meeting agenda for first reading consideration. We're now going to move into a second public hearing. Um, Oh, you're right. Thank you.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
I,
Yeah. Sorry, David, have there been any comments for this?
Mayor and council, there are no requests for comment for this public hearing.
I knew that. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, now we're going to recess for the second public hearing and
Jackie, should I recuse myself from this part too?
the zoning text amendment.
On tonight? You should, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will you announce it? Will
I'm
you recuse-
recusing myself for the second public hearing.
Who are you? Make sure you run.
Okay. A request for a zoning code text amendment pertaining to section 25-45K and related references to no impact home-based businesses. Ms. Graves, do you have exhibits you wish to enter into the record?
Yes, Mayor, I do. I'd like to enter the following exhibits into the record for this public hearing. Exhibit 1, which is an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the St. Louis Countian on September 26th, 2025. Exhibit 2, an affidavit of publication showing that an ad was placed in the Webster Kirkwood Times on September 26th, 2025. A memorandum from City Planner 2, Amy Lowry, dated September 17th, 2025. Exhibit 4, the report of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dated September 18th, 2025. And Exhibit 5, the Kirkwood Code of Ordinances. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Hawes, who will present this to the city council?
That'll be City Planner 2, Amy Lowry.
You're busy, Amy.
Good evening again. So in 2022, the state of Missouri passed legislation governing home-based work and home-based businesses. And in that legislation, a political subdivision cannot prohibit the operation of what they term a no-impact home-based business or require any permits, license, variance, or prior approval for an entity to operate such a business. And as long as the business meets certain criteria, it should be considered as a no-impact home-based business. The city may adopt reasonable regulations that are narrowly tailored for the purpose of protecting the public health and safety or ensuring that the business activity is compliant with state and federal law and paying applicable taxes. So staff prepared a memorandum, which is in your packet, in consultation with the city attorney to amend the zoning code so that we comply with state regulations. And the amendments are broadly that we changed all instances in the zoning code of home occupation to no impact home-based business. We allow such businesses to either operate indoors or inside and rear yards as required by the state. And we revised the use-specific standards for these no-impact home-based businesses. And we added a definition of what a no-impact home-based business would be. And the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the changes in the zoning code. Basically, we had stricter home-based business regulations that have been preempted by the state statute.
Thank you. Does council have any questions?
And it's not necessarily on the change, it's on this altogether. So a side yard, what about a corner lot? Is one of those actually determined to be a side or is it considered two fronts?
We consider it to be two fronts.
So a corner lot those will be two fronts in terms of this ordinance.
I'd have to defer to Jackie on that. I mean, that's the way our zoning code interprets it, but I'm not sure how the state statute would interpret it.
It would be based upon our ordinances.
Okay.
Based upon our zoning ordinances. And they provide regulations about, for example, that it can't be, these no-impact home-based businesses can't be seen from the road. And so even if you were going to be in a side yard, it would be under our code whether or not there was a fence that could shield it or not. So it's definitely based upon our code and how it would be interpreted.
Okay, so that's a two front is two front. One won't magically become a side. Okay. All right, thank you.
I have
And
a
then
question.
the-
I mean, if somebody wants to have a non-impact or no impact business, how do they prove that to the city?
Well, what we have been doing, just to be in line with the state, is if someone contacts us about having a home-based business, we have a certification form that we're giving them that they are saying, I'm a no-impact business. And we're keeping track of that so that if there is an issue down the road, we can say, you did sign this saying that you were a no-impact business.
But they self-certify that it's no.
They have to
impact,
self-certify,
no other
yes.
Discussion.
No other
They gotta do
discussion.
is say, I have a no impact business and
Yes.
poof, they're approved. Okay.
Can I ask another question about how do you measure a substantial increase in traffic through the residential area?
Well, that would come up with, if we had a complaint about the traffic, we would have to go out and look and see what was happening and make a determination as to whether that was, an impact on the traffic.
But you wouldn't necessarily have a no impact home business traffic sense in a post.
No,
Have to make a determination.
we'd have to make a determination, and the state has not given us any, any kind of evaluation tools to do that either, so.
So a lot of this will be complaint driven by the neighbors in the neighborhood. And the more information they have, the easier it might be for you to evaluate.
That's correct.
Is there any way there's not any way of restricting the activity in a yard, is there?
No, it's, as long as it's not visible from the front yard, they are allowed to do it.
Well, subject to, it can't be a nuisance, it can't be
Yes.
all of the other regulations. So for example, storage, there are a lot of different regulations built in here. All of those also have to be met. So I don't want to say anything's allowed, but it would have to be not visible and then also meet the other regulations in the code.
So there used to be an issue with somebody who sold body parts out of their basement, and it kind of came out of, it was inventory, and we don't allow storage. Has that changed with this? Is there still the ability for them to store their no impact business items?
Yes,
Okay.
as long as it doesn't change the residential character of the house. So if somebody decided their whole bottom floor, they were going to take out their kitchen and just make it a storage warehouse, I think we could argue
That they,
that this has changed the residential character of the house. But
Well, right, you can't do things that are illegal. So Jonathan's just mentioning if
yeah.
that's illegal, then. we
Right.
can't
It wasn't
do
an
it, but-
illegal, I mean, it was legitimate. It was a medical.
Sale of
exchange
lawful
of-
goods.
But
It was a medical exchange of
Yeah.
things that you could do legally. I'm not,
right.
it was on my streets.
Well, and just because someone is getting 10 packages a day, someone could be doing that, without running a business. So,
this is not directly on point, but I just want to note some of the regulations include that on-site storage of hazard materials beyond that normally incidental to residential use is prohibited. No home-based business equipment shall create any dust, noise, odors, glare, vibrations, electrical disturbances, or other nuisance conditions as set forth in the code. So the things that are not allowed are still not allowed. It's just that when they're operating a business and those things are not part of the business, they can operate the business. Does that make sense?
So there's some clarity to nuisance and storage and some of those things
It's, yeah,
that,
the regulations have.
that are still there. And then any public health issues could potentially go to whatever county public health oversight that there might be.
That's right. Or the cities as well, to the extent we have an oversight of something in particular. But it would depend, it's a case by case basis.
Okay, okay, great, thank you.
Councilmember Lotso.
Thank you. So Amy, this change to the regulations, occurred in 2022. I mean, it does take some time to comply with, at the local level. I'm just wondering though, has there been enough time that we know maybe from other municipalities who got into this more, sooner than we did, how things are going as far as this, if there's any snags? I don't know if there's sort of a template or we've pretty much drawn up our own code to comply with the state thing. Do you understand? where
We've
I'm
drawn
going with
up
this?
to comply with the state.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know that we've had more complaints than we had before this went into effect with home-based businesses. So I'm not quite understanding what your question is.
I'm just wondering how this new state law being enacted, I mean, now to be enacted in Kirkwood, which sort of expands the allowance of home-based businesses, to me, at least. If in other municipalities that have already done this, have you seen adverse outcomes where, there's just,
Well, I mean, we were aware of this when it passed, so we've been operating under these rules, even if the code did not catch up to that.
okay, because of the
So,
state law?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
And you say that, I mean, the number of complaints about these businesses really has been pretty much,
not,
Mhm.
we have not had a number of complaints,
Okay.
any more so than, yeah, typical complaints, I would
Okay.
say.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one other quick one, sorry. This also includes any home-based business out of an accessory dwelling unit or a garage or accessory structure on the property?
It does.
So you can have more than one operating?
You can operate out of an accessory structure and or an accessory dwelling unit if you had one, and there's no limit on the number of businesses that you would be allowed to operate.
Just one note is that it's still required that the home be used as a home, and whatever the business is incidental to its use as a home. So it can't be that they've taken over a residence and made 90% of it a business, and that would not work.
So an ADU, if it's approved as an ADU, they can't turn that into a home-based office, not, with no one living in it.
Well, I mean, the way we've set up accessory dwelling units, we haven't said that you have to continuously rent that. Once you have that special use permit, you have that. I guess if you decided you weren't going to rent out your ADU and instead you were going to operate a business out of it, we couldn't.
But your accessory is the ADU, not the primary residence, right? So the primary residence still has to be the residence.
Right, so somebody's living there but just runs their home-based, no impact business out.
If I had my law office out of my ADU, I don't think that our code would preclude that. It's just that you could also, or alternatively, use it to have someone live there. Not that it's required for all purposes, unless you all disagree. Okay.
All right. David, has anyone completed a card to speak on this subject?
Mayor and council, there are no requests for comment at this time.
Okay. Are there any further questions or comments from council? No. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, this public hearing is now closed. The bill will be on the November 6th council meeting agenda for first reading consideration. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. All righty. Here he comes. Okay. We'll now move into the public comments section of our meeting. David, has anyone filled out a comment card who wishes to make a public comment?
Mayor and council, there are a couple of requests for comment this evening. The first is Joe Roser.
Joe, you're up.
Cup of coffee?
Hello?
All right. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for serving the city of Kirkwood. I would like to touch base on a topic that was discussed yesterday at our BMP meeting that was brought it to our attention less than 24 hours before the meeting, but there was a lot of people that attended, that it was a very important meeting, and I think we got a lot out of it. One topic I want to discuss this evening is replacement of an existing driveway or patio that under the new system, it would require that we get a topographic and a civil engineer for the replacement of an existing driveway. Well, if the size of the driveway does not change, width, length, I just think that the city is just requiring too much for the residents to pay, because you're going to pay a civil engineer $4,000 to $6,000. You're going to pay the BMP for doing the over 25%. That could be anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000. Okay. So then you got the cost of the driveway. And I think the residents, they want to keep up their property, curb appeal, safety. And I think the city is just overstepping their boundaries on an existing driveway, hard surface, that it's not really required, because that driveway's been there for 40, 50 years. You know what, the water runoff, it is what it is. And all the new projects, we are trying to do our best to support the existing sewer stormwater that is outdated. The buildings in Kirkwood are just getting too big and massive to take the stormwater. And I just think that you need to consider down the road that you work for the citizens, okay? They elected you, and if these citizens come in to replace a driveway and they got to hear, this is what you got to do, they're going to be very upset.
Thank you, Joe.
And I guess my time's up. So thank you very much.
Mike Fitzgerald.
Good evening. My name is Mike Fitzgerald. I live at 729 Cleveland Avenue in Kirkwood. I'm here to talk to the Kirkwood City Council about a topic of great importance. In fact, our democracy is in crisis because too many voters have given up on it. Now, I'm not here to talk about what's going on in Washington, D.C. Instead, I want to talk about what's going on here in Missouri. Like voters everywhere else in America, too many Missourians choose not to vote because they believe their votes don't matter. And in far too many cases, they're correct. We've seen evidence of the sad state of affairs going back decades. Voters have approved ballot measures outlawing puppy mills, mandating Medicaid expansion, paid sick leave, and ensuring reproductive rights. And each time the party that controls the General Assembly, claiming voters don't really understand what they're voting on, repealed what the voters had rightly assumed would be decided at the ballot box. Fortunately, we have a way to remedy this state of affairs, which is why I am appearing before you tonight. I'm here to urge the Kirkwood City Council to pass a resolution of support for two ballot measures currently in the signature gathering phase, with plans to place them on the November 2026 ballot. Both are nonpartisan and cut across all ideological lines, because both are about something we've all understood since we were little kids: basic fairness. First measure, sponsored by the group Respect Missouri Voters, aims to change Missouri's constitution to make it much harder for state lawmakers to repeal the results of future ballot initiatives. Second ballot measure, sponsored by the group People Not Politicians, aims to nullify Missouri's newly minted congressional map, the appeal of which would send a resounding message to the rest of the world that Missouri will not tolerate anyone meddling with our elections, especially those seeking partisan gain. In conclusion, I can hardly overstate the importance of both of these ballot measures. They are urgently needed because they will restore voters' faith in our democracy by convincing them that their votes do count after all. In this way, both ballot measures, if passed, will fortify our democracy. In voting to support them, the Kirkwood City Council will show it stands on the right side of history during a time when our democratic system is under severe stress and needs every bit of help it can get. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Mayor and council, there are no additional requests for comment at this time.
Thank you. We will now move to the consent agenda. Is there a motion and a second? to
Motion.
approve? Okay. Are there any questions or comments on the items on the consent agenda? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. The consent agenda passes. There's no unfinished business this evening, but we'll move into new business, Bill 11094.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a traffic signal crossing agreement with St. Louis County for the installation, maintenance, and operation of traffic signal and crosswalk enhancements at the county-maintained intersections of Big Bend Road and Couch Avenue and Big Bend Road and Geyer Avenue in the city of Kirkwood, Missouri.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
A motion and a second.
Oh, sorry. Motion and second, please.
Second.
Now we'll have comments or questions. I actually have one.
First.
And it'll probably be Chris. So from reading this, it sounds like we will agree to pay for items, but it'll come back to us once we have a cost to it. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, you are, Mayor. Right now, we don't have the actual cost. It is this is just the agreement that we're wishing to put the lighted street signs and have black painted traffic signals at these two intersections out for bid through the county. And so this would place our intent to have those, and then we would come back to city council with those costs at a later time.
And if the cost is crazy high and we want to reject it, we can do so at the
You may
time.
do so.
Questions?
I think this is a great idea and thank you. That was basically my question, is how much the cost might be, but we'll find out later.
Any other questions over here? All in favor of first reading approval of Bill 11094, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The bill has passed first reading approval. Resolution 92.
Yourself?
Oh, sorry. I'm going to recuse myself. We're doing that a lot tonight from this, and Councilmember Letzow will take over.
Your deputy's not here. Oh, my goodness. We have to go
Right.
down the food chain.
We got,
now.
we got the third string in here. Yeah. Resolution 92-2025. Mr. Hawes?
Yes, this is a resolution appointing members to the Farmers Market Advisory Committee.
Thank you. Do I have a motion and a second to accept Resolution 92-2025 as read?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Actually, I have questions or comments, but if you all have any questions or comments, I'll let you go first.
It looks like a great group once again, and so glad it's being resurrected. So I appreciate your efforts and the fact you hit the ground running. So good group, and look forward to the work out of this group.
Anybody else? No. I wonder, of course, we might have to waive Robert's rules.
We can consider Carrie as
Okay.
staff because this
Since
is her
she's staff,
legislation
okay.
request. Yeah.
So could we have Carrie come up? Because I was just wondering if you can talk about the Market Advisory Committee and it's being revived and what's going on and exactly what they do, because it's been a while.
Yes, so I was not aware that we even had one when I was serving on the board of the SBD. So when I was made the executive director, it came to my attention that within the legislative code, we were supposed to have a farmers market advisory commission. And what had happened was that some of our vendors were having maybe some issues here and there. And, there were people coming forward to the city saying maybe, having their own ideas of what should be happening at the farmers market. And so one of the things that we saw was that we used to have a farmers market advisory commission. So I decided to resurrect that again. And so I got together with my new board. We also sort of had a little resurrection of our SBD board. We had to reelect 8 new members to our board out of 9. And they decided that it would be a good idea to have that sort of second tier. Because what had happened was with the Farmers Market Advisory Commission, when it kind of went to the wayside, those responsibilities were then put onto the SBD Advisory Commission. And so at the meetings, we would discuss who are we going to have at the farmers market? We would approve of the leases that would go out to the vendors. So that became part of the advisory board for the SBD rather than the farmers market. So we decided that it would be a good idea to have that resurrect. But then also the SBD advisory board would kind of be almost an oversight to the farmers market. And that's how it's sort of written into the code. And so they will meet at least twice a year. It's made up of vendors at the market, citizens, and sort of our largest vendor at the market as well. And so we wanted to get a good representation of who actually utilizes the farmers market as well as who is a part of it. So it's just a good way to get more input into what we should be doing, how we should move forward with it, because we are constrained by space, and there is a lot of push to maybe do a little bit more with the farmers market, such as tomorrow night having a night market for the first time ever on Argonne with 36 vendors. So some things that, the Farmers Market Advisory Committee could comment on, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there are no other comments or questions, roll
it.
call, please. Lori.
Yes. So Mayor Gibbons is absent. Councilmember Jack
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo,
Yes.
Councilmember McLean, Councilmember Reinecker,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer.
Yes.
Resolution has passed. Thanks, Lori.
Double your pay.
Very good, Nancy.
Right.
Yes. Almost as good as the mayor.
She did okay. Okay, let's see, where are we now? We are now at Resolution 93, 2025.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of JL Contracting in the amount not to exceed of $2,246,956.75, which includes a 10% contingency in the amount of $20,000, $268.80 for water main replacement and street reconstruction on Woodgate Drive for the engineering and water departments, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Motion
Roll
and a
call, please.
second.
No, sorry.
Okay.
Motion and a second. Thank you. Okay, now discussion.
I have,
I have some
Go ahead.
questions.
Okay.
Chris, how many miles are we replacing, or how many feet of pipe?
For this one, it's around 2,000 feet.
1,000 feet?
Yeah. Mhm.
Less than a mile.
Correct. Yep.
Less than half
We're
a
supposed
mile.
to be replacing 9 miles a year per that contract, right? Or that
Water master plan.
consultant report.
Consultant report.
$2 million is costing for 2,000 feet.
So I just want to make sure that, so the water main portion of the project is just around $900,000. With this project, we're reconstructing the entire street. And so that escalates the project by $1.4 million.
I guess my point is it's expensive to own a water company.
A question, just in terms of the funding of this, so it's split out between two different accounts, correct? And
Correct.
one appears to be the water account and one's the street.
Correct.
So we have funds in both of those accounts. So the water account, is that the distribution system improvement? Is that a water distribution system improvement account?
That's a water distribution.
Okay, because
Yeah.
we have electric, we have others, so.
Yeah, that's
it's-
water. If,
So this is a split between street and water accounts.
correct.
Chris, I have a question about the bids that we got and the one that was the lowest, and it sounds like they've got some issues, inner stall, and that they haven't completed something that they did for us. Have we paid them in full for that?
No.
Okay, good.
No, so you're correct that we did receive a bid from KJ Understall. And they've not completed previous projects for us. And it's been since July. We've been waiting for them to complete the punch list. And this project is very time sensitive. It's in front of Westchester Elementary. And so we would like to, staff is recommending to go to the second low bid, JL Contracting, which has been a very successful contractor for us, has completed many successful projects on time.
What did Understall, what project was it that they did?
That was at Taylor Young and Rayner Road
Oh,
water main replacement.
Yeah.
So specifically this project, they had issues with.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Schaefer.
Got it.
Oh, sorry.
All good.
Stole your question.
Here.
Yes, Councilmember
Okay,
McLean.
so 2,000 feet for 900,000, that's $450 a foot. Is that pretty typical, you think, for all of our water mains that we're gonna be?
Yes, that's a typical price.
And then part of that consultant report that we got, they had a canopy and they identified the low risk all the way to the high risk. Where'd this fall in the?
This was in the high risk category. So we have many water main breaks on Woodgate. And so this would, by replacing this water main, we're reducing water loss and reducing amount of repair time that we have to go out.
Yes, Councilmember Schaefer.
Oh, how many residents will be impacted when you're doing this, by any chance?
So the project limits are from the north city limit, just right past Delchester, all the way to Manchester. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many residents there is. It's 50 to 70 residents.
That's it.
And then a lot of school people.
Right.
Yeah, so we're planning to complete everything north of the school before school lets out. And then during the summer, complete everything down to Manchester. We've met with the principal there. We've also had public meetings with the residents on the street. So everyone's aware of the project.
Thank you. Any more comments or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Reinecker? Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
The resolution 93-2025 has passed as read. Resolution 94-2025.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending and readopting the City of Kirkwood city fee schedules pertaining to the electric department.
Okay, well, that made it really simple. It's a lot more complicated than that. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Okay, now we'll have discussion. There's, I think, two different fee changes in here, but the big one that our citizens need to know about is regarding our electric department. We've spent the last 12 years, our electric department has, upgrading the electric infrastructure. So all of the transformers have been replaced, all the substations, either they were replaced or redone so that the capacity that we have as a city for electricity, which use keeps going up. I just heard something on the radio the other day. That manufacturing is coming back to the United States. Electric cars, we're all using more and more electricity all the time. Our infrastructure's gone up from 4V to 12V. At the same time, the electric department overspent their budget. So what it's caused us to have to do is to raise our electric rates. On average, about 14.8% is what the electric rates are going up. That will be effective November 1st. So on average, that'll be about $15 per home. But it's a necessity to put the reserves back into the electric department and put the reserves back into the city as well. So I'm going to open it up for others to ask questions or make comments.
I have a comment. So I agree with you. That's made a good summary of what we're doing, but this upgrade project overspent. They spent $4 million out of the cash reserves of the electric department and $9.3 million out of the general reserves, which is fine if you need to do that. But the bad part is no one was aware that that was occurring. That's the part that's really disturbing to me. And I can't understand how other councils and the city hall leadership allowed that to happen.
Okay. Additional comments?
Yeah, I wonder if Russ can kind of walk through some of the information we had at the work session, I think, again, so that residents can understand. I mean, we need to do this. And we did have somebody take a look at our situation recovery plan. We shared the information at a work session last week. And I think many got the slide deck handout. And maybe Russ can kind of talk through what the UFS, which was the name of the consulting firm, what they evaluated, what they came back with, where what kind of happened, or what are the things that variables we need to address, and how we're going to, kind of what happened, what we need to do now, and what our plan is going forward, because we know we have a lot of work still to do in terms of understanding the situation. And maybe Russ, again, this is information that we've shared, and it'd be good if Russ walks us through the situation.
Yeah, I'll be glad to. Thank you. First of all, Al is absolutely correct and the mayor is correct that the electric department did overspend its budget significantly. It was in ways that were not clear until the audit was complete, or not the audit, basically the fiscal year closed. And as we determined that it was overspent, we checked to make sure that was accurate, because there were debt offerings that needed to be accounted for, and also purchases that were made 3 and 4 years ago were showing up. And also there were capacity spikes in the energy that is purchased through the electric department that all contributed. As a matter of fact, these improvements over the years were funded through a number of funding scenarios, budget appropriations, use of cash reserves, and certificates of participation. And in a way, a perfect storm occurred. I hate to use that term, but there were also just issues with tracking, that I will just leave it at that, that have been resolved, and we have ways going forward to track it better. We have brought in UFS, which is an expert consulting firm to assist the city in all aspects of the financial tracking, the financial machinations that occur with the electric department. They began their process with the city by identifying the best way to address this going forward. And part of that is what's called a PCA, where these market fluctuations in energy costs are addressed automatically on a 6-month rolling basis. That will be a real positive because we will not be hit by those in the way we have in the past. They're also going to be, they've also assisted us in determining the level of adjustment here that is being proposed for City Council's consideration tonight, the 14%, 14.8% adjustment across the board. That this will basically rebuild the cash reserves that are necessary to operate the utility, as well as city's reserves that were utilized. So we're going to be utilizing UFS also forward, looking at budgetary issues and ensuring that we stay on track with this particular plan. And they've been very helpful. And we are encouraged by the results that we've seen so far. So.
Couple more quick. So where are we anticipated to be at this fiscal year end? What was UFS number?
This fiscal year end, we are looking at still being at a negative budget position of about 1.3 million, if I remember correctly.
But in some of your, it says 13 million. I don't know if that was.
Oh, well, that's the overall, you mentioned, or I think Al mentioned, I'm sorry, that's the overall -4 and -9.3.
But that was at the end of fiscal year 2025, but their projected fiscal year 2026 is still at a 13.
Yeah, we're trying to hold steady. That is correct.
Okay, so we will still probably be at the 13 point whatever million, but this is the first step because typically a mid-year rate increase is, we usually build those in at the beginning of the year, and we're going to try to get a head start on recouping, correct?
That is 100% correct.
And then how many years did they anticipate before we would probably start building back reserves?
Well, I think we're going to start building back reserves in the first year, but the full build back is about a 5-year process.
But part of that first year is paying back.
Yes,
money.
part of it is paying, that is correct. Those are all part of reserves though.
Right, so it's paying back the general reserve fund and.
And building in the electric.
We have 2 reserves that we're
Mhm.
looking at that have taken a pretty big impact on this.
Right.
Councilmember McLean.
Go ahead. Just a couple more comments. I think it was to Al's point, it's awful expensive to have these enterprise funds. We're finding that out with water and all the water mains now and how much that's going to cost going forward. The UFS report advised us, they went back 5 years and determined that the electric department lost money for the last 5 years, if I recall. And, I'm just kind of wondering, quote unquote, enterprise funds, we're having to bail them out. And it's concerning to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need, as a council, we need to really consider this going forward.
Valid consideration, correct.
I think our rates, I mean, we weren't very aggressive on our rates.
Over the years, yeah, that's true.
Councilmember Reinecker?
Yeah, that was another good summary, Russ. I appreciate the transparency of so everybody knows what happened. But one thing you forgot that I want to add and let everybody know, we have hired an auditing company to audit the last 2 years of the entire electric department's, 2 years of the spending of the last 2 years.
Mhm. Yes, that's a good point.
We'll report those results when we know them.
Yes.
Any other questions? Councilmember Schaefer?
To comment, try to keep full transparency here. The $15 is based on 750 kilowatts that are used. That's where we're getting the $15 from. But typical homeowners use with a home, family, so forth, use 3,000 to 4,000 kilowatt a month. So the $15 really is, you can do the math, you're more $60 to $80 is what your electric will go in. That's one. And then, I call it serviceability, but they call it base rate. It's for have access with the meter on your property. That's going from 803 to $10. Am I correct with those?
That's
numbers?
correct. Mhm.
Okay, so that'll be an increase to everybody as well, because of what's all going on here. So I just trying to get true numbers out there with full transparency to everybody.
Let's
So Russ, it's my understanding that one major contributing factor to this was the ice storm that happened in, I believe it was the end of 2022, maybe, down in Texas, which caused natural gas prices to go crazy across the country. And because we buy some of our capacity on that market, our costs may have even doubled for any capacity that we purchase and use that is generated with natural gas generating stations. So that's one factor that came into play. Also, the state legislature recently passed construction work in progress legislation allowing at least state utilities or Ameren and others to pass on ahead of the actual construction of renovations, new capacity, whatever kind of construction projects that they plan to undertake. They are allowed to now charge their customers for those capital expenses ahead of actually the customers taking advantage of those improvements or whatever kind of expansion. Whereas what the city did was we more or less completely renovated our entire system, our transmission lines, our distribution lines, our substations, our distribution substations over a period of 10 years, maybe? 12 years. And I'm not sure if we know I asked recently about what the total cost of that project may have been. I know it's definitely in the tens of millions. I'm not sure exactly where. Is it 20 million or 35 or whatever? But we were basically paying with our reserves from the electric department reserves and the general fund reserves. We were paying for the spike in natural gas, which was exorbitant, and it was something that was across the board among power companies, as well as, okay, I lost my train of thought.
Other capacity volatility.
Right, we are,
Or energy volatility.
right,
in the
paying
market.
for the capital expenses as well as you know, the costs of capacity that we buy on the MISO market. So those are two things that happened. Also, our enterprise funds are enterprise funds, so a portion of the so-called profit is transferred to the general fund to pay for other expenses, for example, streets. And the electric department, as the sanitation department and the water department, typically has transferred a certain amount of its funds to the general fund to help pay for streets. We now have voters just recently passed the Transportation Development District to help pay for street projects, but until that time, we were using so-called dividends from sanitation, water, and electric to help provide revenues to the general fund to pay for street projects, which are very important to the citizens. The electric department was transferring to the general fund. Do you know offhand?
1.7 million to the general. And
About 1 point, yeah.
About 0.7 to the capital.
So $1.7 million a year to the general fund and 700,000
Capital.
to the capital fund. So that's another, $2.4 million that was coming from the electric. So we've got the electric department helping to pay for other important projects in the city of Kirkwood, as well as redoing its entire operating system, which is now brand spanking new. It's more efficient because it operates at a higher voltage rating, so you have less loss in the lines as the power is going through the distribution lines. It's not just going to waste and a so-called lossiness in the lines. So there'll be actually conservation and better efficiency within the system. So it is an unfortunate situation. And like you, I don't like the term perfect storm because perfect is kind of usually an optimistic term, but it was definitely an entangled situation of various things happening kind of all at once over a period of a few years that led us to this situation. The proposed rate increase, though, it puts us, it will be a little bit over Ameren for now. But as we were advised by the consultant, we have not kept up with market rates to properly maintain our electric department as we should have over the years. Our base rate, which currently is $8.03 per month, just to have the service there, is way low. We're raising it to $10 for residential, which is still a fairly modest increase if you compare it to other similar utilities, but trying to, be as conservative as possible while at the same time rebuild back our reserve funds in both the capital and the general, or the electric department and the general fund. So, we're in this situation. The electric department is running smooth as can be. And I applaud staff and council for reacting to this situation. And I support this increase. It's necessary. We have to pay our bills, and the electric department has always been, to me, a blue ribbon enterprise fund in the city of Kirkwood, and I think this will help us get back to being that same quality. Thank you.
Councilmember Schaefer.
I'm gonna go back to full transparency. I just wanted known that this council knew nothing about what was going on with the deficit that we went into with the electric department till August of this year. And I can tell you, everyone that's sitting up here has worked diligently to try and right the ship. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other
Can I just follow up? Thanks to Nancy for mentioning the 2022 fuel adjustment time. From my understanding, I was not on the council, but what I've heard since we've been on this council is that we did have a fuel adjustment increase during that time, which was about a 33% increase. It was supposed to last during that gas hike, which really turned out to be about 2 months. The city kept that in the mix. In our utility financial services consultant said that had we not kept that in, we'd be in a lot worse service. So even since I've been back on the council, there was multiple times we talked about, why do we still have this fuel adjustment? Because that was we thought it was going to be temporary. Thank goodness it stayed. Otherwise, we would have been facing some different numbers. So Nancy, thanks for bringing that up. It's part of this, beginning to understand where we are and, what's helped, what's not. But again, that gives us kind of an additional variable to have to have looked at.
I just want to follow up also. Thanks, Nancy, for bringing. I have to disagree a little bit on this, how this transferred this money from electric to general fund benefited us. It's all fake. It's all moving money from here to there. And we took 9.3 million from the electric department, or more than that. They gave us 1.7 million. How many years? Now we're having to pay the piper to for that. Of at least 9.3 million. We don't even know, plus the 4 million that electric took out. Paying the piper now. So all we're doing is taking money from one hand, giving it to the other. And I guess someone said, well, it was my money anyway. Well, you know, being transparent, as Councilman Schaefer wants to be, what are we doing here? We're taking money today to rob it later. It's just, I don't, you spin it very well, and I appreciate that. I do agree, the rate increase is needed, and we've been below what was probably necessary, and why we didn't raise it sooner. Fortunately, I agree we need to have this.
Councilmember Reiner.
Last comment, to add to what Mark said, that $2 million has been transferred. We, in the same period of time, we borrowed, what, $27 million, various sources, and then lent the money from the electric to the general coffers. So, I mean, it's all kinds of terms you can use for that kind of accounting. I won't.
More work to be done.
Any additional comments, questions? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean? Councilmember Reinecker?
Yep.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
The resolution has passed. Resolution 95, 2025.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution appointing Interim Director of Electric Rick McKinley to serve as Director and Superintendent of Electric Jim Crisco to be appointed as alternate to the Missouri Joint Municipal Electric Utility Commission.
Do I have a motion and a second to accept Resolution 95, 2025?
Second.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
We have, just for my knowledge, since I haven't been around,
Yes, Rick McKinley has 37 years' experience with the city of Kirkwood Electric. And these appointments are required as basically the Missouri Joint Municipal Electric Utility requires that a director from each of its members serve on its board. So Rick McKinley, as interim director, will serve as director on that board. And Jim Crisco, who has 25 years of experience with the city of Kirkwood, and he's electric superintendent, he would be appointed as alternate.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Jack Sadek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo?
Yes.
Councilmember McLean?
yes.
Councilmember Reinecker?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
The resolution has passed. Now we are moving to city council reports. I just want to remind folks that the mayor has coffee with the mayor once a month. It'll be this coming Tuesday. It is moving. In the past, we've been at the KPAC, and we're not going to fight with the noise anymore, and we're moving to the community center. So 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. I hope people will come out and join me. Anyone else have a report? Councilman Schaefer.
Yes, hi, thanks, Mayor. Library report. They had their annual audit at the library, and there's a clean audit. Everything's accounted for. They're doing a great job with their spending and so forth, I think. They're working on getting another 2 or 3 quotes for a flag, so we get a flag back out in front. They're $2,153,000 in their endowment fund. So, very good.
Good news. Councilman Olita?
Well, and I apologize because I don't have all the details, but were you going to mention about the award that streets that Jonathan and Chris
Maybe Chris
accepted?
Yep.
Or maybe Chris could come up and
Yes, please
and-
do.
and
Chris.
brag on himself.
Yes.
Since I would totally.
I wish we had that
bungled-
video that we could put up on.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't have the award with me, but it's downstairs. So City of Kirkwood received an award from the American Public Works Association from the Missouri chapter for the Project of the Year for transportation under $1 million for the Longview Boulevard project. So very proud of that project. That added half a mile of sidewalk in the city of Kirkwood. And very proud to have Kirkwood showcased throughout Missouri for that project.
Thank you and congratulations. Yeah.
Job. And Jonathan left already,
Okay.
but we could convey the same sentiment to him.
Councilmember
I
McLean.
have one with the Human Rights Commission. Nominations are open for the Dennis Hart Award. Nominate someone who inspires inclusion, celebrating excellence in human rights and equity. So if you know of anybody, please nominate them to the Human Rights Commission of Kirkwood.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Chief Administrative Officer report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, the city received an application for a liquor license from Aaron Uncorked LLC, doing business as Grapevine Wines, 309 South Kirkwood Road, to sell intoxicating liquor by the drink, including Sundays, and intoxicating liquor in original package, including Sundays. And this would require a voice vote.
Okay, do I have a motion and a second to approve the application?
Second.
Okay, are there any questions or comments?
Just a comment. I was about to vote no on this, but I know I can't. So, Aaron, I know will do great, but we will miss the Grapevine folks. So, congratulations, and I won't vote no.
Yes, Councilmember Schaefer.
I'd just like to say, fellow business people that have been in town for a lot of years, congratulations on retirement. Well deserved.
Yeah, yeah.
29 years in business, is that right?
Wow.
Awesome. Aaron, here's another 29.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, any other comments or questions? All right. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Application passes. Congratulations. City Councilor report.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
City Clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the report of the October 15th, 2025 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The following action was taken after a presentation by staff on a staff-initiated zoning code text amendment with regard to ground story residential and certain B2 mixed-use developments. The commission recommended approval by a vote of 7-0. A public hearing will be scheduled for the council on November 6th. After review of the revised B2 mixed-use development plan of TriStar Properties at 300 North Kirkwood Road, which application was returned to the commission by city council for further study and report, the commission recommended approval by a vote of 7-0. Because the proposed amendment to the development plan substantially modifies the original. A public hearing will be scheduled before the city council on November 6th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any other business? Seeing no further business, our next regular scheduled meeting will be November 6th, 2025.